assume that many of you or some of you have seen all of Alice's films. She's done 3 films that all played here. So you're all familiar with Alice's work? Yes? Yeah. Good. Okay.
It's just 3.
I know we every time we do a complete retrospective, these are the best. We can do everything and not, looking for prints for too long. Lazzaro is the new film that we just played in the festival, courtesy of Netflix. It's a really beautiful film that feels very much in vein with your previous works. I mean, all 3 films, but partly with the wonders, like nearly a sort of not sequel, but there's a lot of similarity in the way it was shot. But before we start talking about the film, maybe you could tell us a little bit how you came to filmmaking. It would, why did you become a filmmaker?
Yes, I think The Wonders is the sequel of Lazzaro Felice. So maybe this is a movie I did after, but somehow it's before the other one. And I mean, the responsible is sitting there. It's his fault, so there are responsible for things, and this is my producer, Carlo Crestodina. And was because of him. I mean, he. So I didn't know exactly what I want to do. I studied Old Greek at the university, old religions, and in the literature and philosophy. So a lot of things. And very boring things, beautiful for me. I really love, but not like so funny. And but I really knew I want to make a work that somehow is part of my life. So it's my life. I mean, the work and the life are together, no? As I think I saw, it's what I learned from my parents. My father is a beekeeper, my mother a teacher, but both of them were so involved in their work, like the life and the work is the same things. And this, I think, directing, it's somehow the same. And so I start to make documentaries. Not a lot, just I tried to I did one documentary, was a co-direction. And then Carlo saw this documentary, and he was producing a collective documentary. So he asked me to send something to him, and I sent another little documentary, just 4 minutes. So very little. And he was very impressed by these 4 minutes. But then then we say hello, ciao, goodbye. And I start to imagine that be a director of documentaries was not exactly what I want to do. For me, it was really painful to make documentaries. I admire so far documentaries, but for me to film people in their life is always very difficult. It's always like a violence for me. So I don't think in general, it's just for me. So I really love to ask people if they want to be someone else and act. I prefer so far this, to give them the possibility to be another. But I did this 4 minutes, and then I was looking for a work, and I start to learn editing, and to try to be an editor, because somehow also you have to work. And I was thinking directing is too much, just a dream. And then he called me after 1 year, and he asked me, what are you doing? I say, I'm editing. Why you don't write a movie? And I was really, I tell you the truth, but seems a little bit strange. I had so much shame, I couldn't ask him who is the director of this movie. because he asked, ha chiesto, no? Do you want to write a movie? So I say, yeah, okay. So I start to work, we start to work together, so on talking, what is the things you really want to tell, blah, 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 blah. So we did a lot of work together, and I wrote Corpo Celeste. And I didn't know who is the director. So I was very afraid. And at one point he said, so now we have to go to the script, it's fine, it's great. We have to go to Ministry of Culture. And finally, at that point, I understood that he was thinking about me to direct this movie. So when I understood this, secretly, I tried to enter in all the cinema school of the planet. And because there was a time, no? You present the project, then you have like 1 year. And no one took me any school. So I said, okay, because you have to apply, and they didn't call me back. So at the end, okay, I said, okay, let's dance. And I think was really the work I really want to do. So somehow was natural, and we had a very beautiful equipe. And I think really this, because there is this, I think it's old phrase, expression. I already said many things, but really this enigma of the language of the human being, when you see something that is real, very beautiful, you say, it seems fake. And when you see something fake, very beautiful, say, seems real. So this work, to work on the fake, to see the reality coming, that is che nasce, that is born from something you are just building, and at one point the reality is coming. And that was amazing. So we decided to continue to work together with the same people, with the same, and we are still working on it. And I think the most beautiful part of this work is that is still a work that you make with your hands, and you make with a lot of people. So somehow it's a very old work of humanity. So something you do all together. And it's to produce a true in something that seems fake, but in fact can be true.
That's quite a unique path to filmmaking. I hope it's inspiring for other people. Can you talk a little bit about influences in your work? I mean, you mentioned that you did study Greek and religion, and we always compare your work to like the Italian master. In some point, even so, you make a completely different world. But even in Felice, one has to think about, like De Sica or Pasolini or Olmi. And can you talk about other art forms that maybe formed your work and your vision in the film that you make now?
Yes, I think inspiration is everywhere. And so, as we said, we are what we eat, and so not just in the sense of food, but just in the sense of everything. And I think I discovered cinema very late. I mean, first movie I saw in the theater is Look Who Is Talking, and it was a great movie. I remember everything of this movie. I can, yeah. So, but at one point, like I went to the big city, and I saw à bout de souffle, Godard. And then from that time when I was studying, because during the university I started to see a lot of movies, and there is something, we said yesterday, there is something, when you fall in love of someone or of something, you have the feeling you remember something, no? Like, you are so beautiful, you remember to me something, I don't know what. And there was in all these movies something I remember. So I think when we did this movie, it's very funny because many people come and say, for me it's exactly like Pasolini, and another one say, for me it's exactly like Citti, and another, for me it's exactly like Fellini. For me exactly. So everyone, everyone have a movie, and he think is very close to Lazzaro Felice, and I just think we were working on memory, on collective memories, somehow doing this movie and looking every places, faces, action that we remember, and we don't know why, but like there was always, c'è sempre stato un riconoscimento, no? Alla base di ogni scelta.
There always was the recognition of a resemblance at the basis of each choice.
And so, I don't know if it makes sense.
No, it does. It was quite an impressive sentence. To continue about working on your film, since you were writing and then directing, how did you become? How did you start your collaboration with Hélène Louvard, which I believe shot your 3 films, and you work on. I mean, not really unusual format, but it's not that used, like 16, and even up to Lazzaro shot on 16. So can you talk about working with Hélène, how you discover her and how you work together?
Yes, Hélène Louvard is the director of photography, and not just this, is also an incredible person and a wonderful friend. So it's many things, and I think it's important, because I think our relation is part of the movie. Every relation, in fact, is part of the movie. I mean, it's incredible how much you can see everything when at the end you see the movie. If there was a person you didn't love, you can emana, l'immagine si vede subito.
It emanates from the image, you see it right away.
So it's like una lente di ingrandimento sulle relazioni.
It's like a magnifying glass on relationships.
So I think I met Hélène with Corpo Celeste because it was a co-production with friends. So of course, so it was a technical thing. So when you make co-production, you have to not spend money in another country, no? So you are looking for collaborators from this country. So at the beginning, I was looking movies from director of photography from France. And GBA, Marianne Dumoulin, they told me about Hélène, that in fact had this very strange filmography, because it's very difficult to put tutti I suoi film, all of her movies, and normally, you can see l'impronta.
An imprinting?
Yes, no? That repeat of a director of photography. In her movies, I think you can see la cura. The care, but not, they are very different, no? So when I met her, I think I thought immediately, I really want to work with her. And we shoot from the beginning. We are trying to make always something different. So I think if you see the 3 movies, we did not the same work. But we are using the same material, that is Super 16, because I think it's a wonderful technology. And we used it in the beginning without any vintage feeling, just because it's a beautiful technology. I'm born in a digital world, and the most modern technology I met in my life is Super 16, I think, because it's working always, I'm sorry, I repeat myself, always with a relation, not with something that you can control 100%, no? You have to seduce the material with your work. You have to convince the material to work for you. And what you see, it's part of this seduction. And it's not something you can control. I always think when you control everything, it's somehow also boring. And in this movie, we decide together, we talk, Hélène, we did first take, no, first rehearse, come si dice, delle prove abbiamo fatto. Yes, with Lazzaro. And to see how is the image and blah, blah, blah. And to decide the size of is something in Italy we call mascherino. Mask, no? The thing you put, cioè la cosa che metti intorno.
Frame.
The frame. And when we saw the image of him and he's a boy without the mask. It's an open boy, no? It's like, we thought we can't put the mask in the movie. The movie have to be open frame, like without a mask. Not because, again, of it's cool, but because of the sense of it, no? We have to declare with the form of the image what we are trying to do, telling a story of someone that have no mask. So this is why in this last movie is open frame. I answer to you. And so I think just the work of Hélène, what is incredible about her is that never we make a choice because, you know, a superficial choice, even something that is very aesthetic. There is always a reason, not so serious, also some funny reason, I don't know. I think the camera, how she put the camera, it's like in a dialogue with the story. I have an image that I really love, I don't know if you saw it, when Antonia met Lazzaro, the big Antonia met Lazzaro in the snow in the city. And she say, inginocchiatevi, no? Yeah, to kneel down. And all day, tutti si inginocchiano. And also the camera do this, no? So Hélène was shooting, and when Alba, my sister, say, inginocchiatevi, Hélène did like this. And I think this is wonderful because it's something that explain, so it's not just make serious choice, but it's really be involved in what is happening and make a choice with your body, take a position.
That seems a really, really good collaboration. So I hope you make all your films with Hélène. I love her work, and I also find it very diverse. Yes. And she worked with, in different countries, different directors, and she has a really good vision, and you seem a great match. Talking a little bit more about movies, can you talk about the casting process? I mean, you worked with non-professional, you worked with very established actors, you worked with your sister, so you have quite a wide range of people you can work with, people you know, people you don't know, people you just pick. And at what point do you think about the chemistry, about everybody's going to interact on stage, on set?
Yes, I think l'ibrido è sempre la forma più interessante.
And hybrid is always the most interesting form.
La più pura.
The purest.
And in this movie, in every movie, there is always a mix, because I think it's also beautiful to work in a situation where no one can be, nessuno è al sicuro nella sua posizione.
No one can feel safe in their position.
Because the actors are in front of 54 non-actors that say, I need this, my grandmother is doing this, today is the birthday of my sister. So the actors can't be protected so much, but also the non-professional actors are involved in a work that so beautiful that the actors make. So no one, tutti devono trovare un territorio comune di dialogo.
They all need to find a common ground based on dialogue.
Per i non attori è molto importante vedere la serietà dell'attore che crede in questo gioco, perché se no si vergognerebbero.
For non-actors, non-professional actors, it's important to see how serious the professional actors are, because otherwise they wouldn't believe in it.
E per gli attori ricordarsi la verità dei non attori è anche importante.
And for professional actors to remember the truth of the non-professional actors is extremely important as well.
So in this movie there is also a YouTuber, for example, that is Tancredi. It's a very famous YouTuber, and also so everyone bring a story and a process. With Tancredi, with Luca Cicovani, for example, was very difficult to let him be directed, because normally he's director of himself in YouTube. And with Lazzaro, the opposite. He want to be directed the whole time. So it was important sometimes to ask him to direct himself a little bit. So everyone keep a word. And my sister also, for me, it's very important to have her. In this case was also the incredible, wonderful coincidence of this beautiful somiglianza.
Resemblance?
With the young Antonia. So when we found the little Antonia that she played also in The Wonders, and we asked to my sister to be part of this movie, and I know to have her in the movie for me is always to have someone completely honest with me. When I do something, it's very important to have someone close to you that tell you the truth in this work, I think.
So you have an honest relationship with your sister.
Yes. And also she bring a quality, I think, in the film and in the set, that is radiant and incredible.
I want to ask maybe one more question. It's about the choice of music in your film, and particularly in Lazzaro. It's very beautiful, and I just want you to talk about how you select the music.
Yes, in this movie there are sometimes, it's the first time we put the music extra diegetica.
Extra diegetic.
And as I didn't know how to put it, it was the first time. So I said, okay, let's put, but really put, we put like click and the music, like we take the responsibility, la prendiamo tutta intera la nostra responsabilità.
We assume responsibility 100%, all of it.
So we are putting the music, so you can listen, there is like click, like a radio from God, I don't know from where, and then the music starts. And when the music ends, you feel stop. I mean, for me, it was like, I want to put the music, but I'm not like trying to make you. Non sto cercando di ingannarvi, di non farvi sentire la musica e all'improvviso iniziate a piangere e vi rendete conto che c'è la musica.
I'm not trying to deceive you, and you don't even realize that there is music, and all of a sudden you find yourself crying, and you do realize that there was music after all.
No, I want to say the music is coming. Listen, chuck. And I think because this is the feeling I have for Lazzaro, that is something that is coming like this in front of me, and there is this image when the first time the music arrived back, and he's just standing. We are down, we can see him, it's like standing in the sky, without nothing. And I think this is like this music, like just intero, nella sua interezza.
As a whole, in the entirety of himself.
So, and then we want, I try to make a little bit more to think as the music is something we can put, this music is somehow is alive. So I decided to make this other scene when the music is running away from the church and is going with them and is staying, in fact, with Lazzaro. And I mean, it was just an experiment. It was always my dream to imagine the music and say, I go away, I just don't like you, bye-bye. Because sometimes there are beautiful music in horrible places, no?
Yeah. I agree. Music can really ruin like beautiful films or beautiful movement. It's tricky. If you have too much of it, it just destroys the emotion while they're trying to add emotion. So that was a really good mix what you did. Maybe we can take some question from the audience. We have microphone. Yes. So there's someone here in the back, and the microphone is coming to you.
Ciao, Alice.
Ciao.
I have a question to you about your main character, Lazzaro. When I finished watching this film and I saw it in Russia, my first thought was, oh, it's Dostoevsky's Idiot. The character that is so pure, is so innocent, that has no place in this world. He must die. He must not survive. It's impossible to fit him in the world we are living today. And not that you were copying Dostoevsky, rather than continue this conversation. And Dostoevsky wrote Idiot 200 years ago, something like that. And to me, that was this continuation. So my question is, was that part of this film, was that part of this message?
Yeah, I think it's not a new character, no? But you know, we don't need everything new always, no? Like there is this sopravvalutazione del nuovo.
Overestimation of man.
So I really want to work with a traditional character. It's the idiota, il santo.
The idiot, the saint.
It's lo stupido in the sense of stupore, because, stupid and stupor.
The stupid, in its etymological sense of connection with stupor.
Someone that have it's just imbambolato, come standing in the void. Mm-hmm. Someone that is just standing in the void in front of something, no? So, and I think this character you can find a little bit during the time in the story of humanity. So you can find in Dostoevsky, but you can find also in, maybe not in San Francesco, but in San Ginepro.
Saint Francis.
That is the stupid one, no? In fact, of the brothers of San Francesco. And you can find nel Candido, you can find in many other characters. Also from fairy tales, Giufà, the people that prendono alla lettera il mondo.
Giufà, who's a character in Sicilian folklore, and they're people that take the world literally.
Sine glossa, we say, no? Without explication. So they just are in front of the reality without any explanation, un libretto di istruzioni.
Without any instruction manual.
So I think, of course, it's a movie that also, the idiot is part of this movie, but it's not just this. I think it's a common character, and it's not about how this character, it's not just about how the character die, but I think it's the fact that the character came again, no? Appare nuovamente.
Appears again.
And intact, no? During the story of humanity.
Okay. We are on the side. You? Yeah. The microphone is here.
Thank you for your movie. I like it very much. And so I feel it's really very touching. And I'm wondering, would you like to talk more about how you work with actors or actresses? Like, will you treat the professional actors and the non-professional actors differently? And for example, like, will you let them to read the script and to introduce them the background of the characters? Thanks.
We just make a lot of rehearsal. I work with a big friend, actress that is acting coach in the movie also, that is Tatiana Lepore. I think it's important because we are two, so I mean it's important because there is the director, but you can't take care of all the rehearsal all the time. So we just make a lot of rehearsal, and everyone read the script if they want, because there are also people that say, it's too boring, I don't want to read it, please tell me the story. So that happens. Have to be honest. So we were wondering if Adriano, maybe Lazzaro, doesn't have to, non avrebbe dovuto leggere, ci siamo chiesti se non avrebbe dovuto leggere.
We wondered whether it wouldn't have been a good idea for him not to read the script before.
It was difficult to say. And but at the end, he was so. I think he asked, "Can I read it?" I say, "Yeah, of course." And he read it, say, "Beautiful." And so I think there is it's just work. I think always the secret is to work a lot. For me, there are not other secrets like, you do like this, you do like this, you make a poison, I don't know, or you put an egg on no, it's just work, rehearsal, all together. Of course, many times it's difficult because you have to convince the production that all this time is part of the movie as well, and also the same care of the actors we have, I think, with everything, with costumes and with set designer. I think, imagine we plant a plantation of tobacco from da questa grandezza le piante.
From this size.
So, we are a little bit crazy. I think. No, the same time we take for make plants grow and build a place, and as we build also a human place.
We'll take a question from this side here. Yes. Thank you.
I have a question. What do you think about artificial intelligence? Is it possible to replace Hollywood with robots or something like this? I heard that Amazon soon will replace the workers with some different mechanisms, robots and stuff. What do you think about artificial intelligence? Is it dangerous for humans?
I would love that, we have to make artificial intelligence, but also artificial stupidity is very important. I like smart cars, but I think we have to make also stupid phones and stupid cars sometimes. So to be like gently, to be fair, and. So I don't know. Maybe I'm very curious to see it. What happened? There is this beautiful documentary about humans that is Wall-E. I don't know if you saw it. And it's just sometimes just incredible.
Yes. Where's the microphone coming? Sorry, microphone's right there. Thank you.
Hi. So can you tell us the reason you use Super 16 to shoot the film, like creatively? The reason you use like 60 millimeter to shoot the film?
A little bit I told before, like I think it's very important to work with materiale vivente.
With live material.
And with a beautiful technology, and also I think, is why we abandoned this technology so fast. Because when I shoot my first movie, it was not so strange to shoot in Super 16. It was 2011, and now we are 2018, and people say, "Why you use it Super 16?" No, come on, it's just 8 years ago, and I think, if something happens so fast, there are big economical reasons. Not just because, non solo perché, non nel senso che il film costa meno,
Not just because the movie ends up costing less,
ma perché è una tecnologia che permette molto più guadagno.
but it's because it's a technology that allows to make a lot more money off of it.
So I think we always have to ask ourselves why things sometimes, if they are working, still working, why they change so fast. And I think to work with Super 16, it's a big help also for me to have this limitation. You know, in fact, when we arrive to editing, we don't have so much material because siamo molto attenti.
We're very careful.
E girare il film è comunque distillare.
And shooting the movie is like distilling it.
E quindi è come dire, questo distillato che tu vuoi fare, lo vuoi mettere in una bottiglietta di vetro oppure vuoi metterla in tantissime bottiglie di plastica? Io dico, visto che è poco, mettiamola in una bottiglia di vetro.
So when you have this spirit that you have distilled, do you just want to put it in one lovely glass bottle, or do you want to put it in many ugly plastic bottles? Well, we have very little of it, so let's put it where it matters, in the glass one.
We'll take a question in the back. You in the middle? Yeah, there.
Where did you film the scenes that took place in Violata?
Inviolata is close to a very famous place that is called Civita di Bagnoregio. That is a little town in Lazio, in the border of Lazio, Umbria, and Tuscany. But as all the very touristic place, if you, se tu giri l'angolo,
If you just turn a corner,
dietro c'è un mondo completamente dimenticato e abbandonato.
right behind it, there's a completely abandoned, forgotten world.
So if you go to Civita di Bagnoregio, fate un passo in più.
If you just take one extra step after you're in Civita di Bagnoregio, that's where you are.
And you will see this place.
You're going to organize a trip for all of us? And there was a question in the middle, yes, no, continue, yep, there you go.
Beautiful film, and I loved the humor that you inserted into moments that were full of tension and depth. And I've always wondered how the translation of that into the subtitles, how that can get tricky, or if it is also liberating to see how it could be. Because sometimes I know the language that I'm seeing the subtitles in, and I know it doesn't follow completely because it's a joke, and languages sometimes can be tricky to translate some of the more verbal humor, whereas you had a lot of physical humor as well. So I wanted to know how you translated that humor into something that was so universal.
Humor is still also in the subtitles. Yeah. Ah, okay. Who did the subtitles? It's great people. There is something that, I mean, first of all, I edit this movie with a French editor, Nelly Quetier. And I think to edit with someone that is not Italian and that doesn't know perfectly the language was a big effort to find a common humor. So something that make me laugh, maybe it's not working with her, and also the opposite. So in our little table, we were making intercultural trip. And there is just one thing that is really missing in the movie, that when the girls are in the fountains and in the springs, and Lazzaro is coming, and someone is asking, who is there, no? And Mariuccia say, niente è Lazzaro. And the translation is just, is Lazzaro. But in fact she say, it's nothing, it's Lazzaro. And I think when I saw it, I say, this is very little things, but makes it's an important meaning, because it's different to say, it's Lazzaro, or say, it's nothing, it's Lazzaro.
So your humor is very
We
precise.
have to put.
We have time for a couple more questions. We'll go here, and the microphone is right there.
I wonder if you can talk more about being a writer-director, like what's your creative process, and like, do you find it hard translating the text into the visuals?
No, I think I really love, because they are so different things, and io sono molto sedotta sia dalla parola che dall'immagine.
I'm highly seduced both by the word and the image.
And I think it's really, when I did my first script, in fact, there are some rules. In this time I was trying to enter in schools, and I didn't took me, so I start to read the books, how to make a movie, and there is like how to write a script, but I already did, so I read this book after, and it's written not put details, psychological details, or short phrases, and just action, no? And the script I did was like, there was this person, but she don't know exactly what she think in this moment. So in this moment she feel it's the most beautiful moment of her life, but in the same moment she think maybe it's not good at this moment. And so it's like the opposite. And every time it's like, the phrases are, the sentences are very, there are the sentences, and then there is explication of 2 pages, of everything. Because she remembered this time when she was little, and she did, So it's like, oh my God, how? But in fact, I saw that also, if nothing, there was a lot of words that was not images, but there was creavano un mondo.
They created a world.
And I think we translate it in the movie, even because with another quality, of course, but creating another world, creando un altro mondo.
Creating another world.
Sì. And so I think it's beautiful I love to abandon myself to the beauty of the language when I write, and to the beauty of the image when I shoot, without using any part like the writing is not important. I love when a script is very good written, very well written. It's romanticamente scritto, no? Like a romance,
Like a novel.
A novel, because I think it's beautiful to take care of this part with the same attention, with the same love.
Thank you. We'll take one last question. Yeah.
Thank you. I think you make a masterpiece. Yes, very honest. Made me feel like I was watching the masters. Fellini. You mentioned The Flowers of St. Francis. Rossellini, yeah. And I was thinking about them when I watched your movie, and also felt new and unexpected. So I think it's a wonderful movie. Can you talk a little bit more about the casting process? How long it took you to? Because I love your faces, the faces in your movie, all those, maybe non-actors. How long it took to pick every one of them?
This is funny because, we cast families in this situation, families of people, farmers. But of course, was the coincidence that decide who is coming, because in every family we ask who can, who is available to make a movie. And many times we went to a family because we saw someone, and he said, no, I can't, I have to work, because countryside never stops. So, but my brother can come. And so, in fact, and also loro hanno deciso quanto potevano lavorare.
They decided how much time they could devote to the project.
So we did a group, of people, And everyone say, I can give you 2 weeks, we will give you 1 week, I can give you just 3 days, I can give you 4 weeks, you know. And questo ha deciso poi l'importanza del personaggio.
So this decided how important the character was going to be.
For example, we had a problem because Katirre, it's a character, the crazy one, became more important during the shooting, but he didn't want to come more time in the shooting because he have many things to do. He work in the cemetery, so it was very difficult to try to convince her, please come again, please, we want to shoot more with you. Like, I don't know, and so was a very impressive casting. Chiara Polizzi, the casting director, she's very young girl and a very talented person. And she really was very important to build this world. But part, it's a choice, but we did a larger choice. And then in this larger choice, they decide how much they want to work and who can work.
But, I love the collaborative process you have with everyone, actors, editor, and the cinematographer, and the music.
A collective
So, yes.
work.
Somehow. Adice is a commune. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your film.